When I think about my childhood, one image pops into my head crystal clear. Me, sitting in front of the TV, munching on some delicious mom-made pancakes, watching nothing other than House of Mouse, the crossover cartoon that defined my childhood, and probably yours too. Hey, I'm Dr. Panda, the only panda with a scarf who's ever been invited to the House of Mouse. And in this video, we're diving into a nostalgic look back at what I honestly believe is the most epic cartoon Disney ever made, House of Mouse. Plus, I'll tell you the exact reason it got cancelled. And yeah, it has everything to do with the curse of the 52 episodes. Also, even though info is pretty scarce, I'll share with you what I managed to dig up about why the series isn't available on Disney+. And if what I found is true, we might never see House of Mouse on the platform. Like ever. Oh, and I'll also explain the weird rule Disney gave the show's crew, banning them from using the characters from a certain franchise. And no, it's not Song of the South. There's really no better way to describe House of Mouse than as the boldest, most creative project Disney ever made for TV. I mean, could you see modern Disney greenlighting something like this today? I hardly think so. It was a product of its time, a time when originality was much more respected. The premise of the show was super original. Mickey and friends run a fancy nightclub where all the Disney characters come to hang out, enjoy dinner, and watch cartoons. It's plain genius. Modern Disney could never. And now, I have to confess something. I know I'm gonna get canceled for this, but I really need to get this off my fluffy little panda chest. I couldn't care less about the little cartoons they showed between the scenes. I know, I'm a jerk. I mean, most were good, some were even great, but to be honest, I was there to see the random Disney characters interacting with each other, and Mickey managing to solve each episode's backstage drama. By the way, am I the only one who felt like that Dance of the Goofies short with all the fairy goofies played every other episode, and seemed to last approximately 2 eternities? No? Just me? Alright, whatever. What I loved most was seeing the guests. It was just so fun watching unexpected characters get invited to this big fancy dinner with Mickey. Like when 2 of the card soldiers from Alice in Wonderland showed up, probably after having pulled some of their royalty strings to get in. Or random fun interactions between characters you never thought you'd see, like Max retrieving Ursula's car for her. Or the Mad Hatter and March Hare using Mrs. Potts and Chip for their tea party in the intro. And I love the sponsor at the end of each episode, which always was a cheeky reference to something in the Disney universe, like Evil Witch's Sleeping Apples. Or Scrooge McDuck's Savings and Loans. All of this made House of Mouse feel alive, like there really was a world outside the club, where Disney characters ran businesses, had day jobs, friends, drama, and a life. As a kid with an overactive imagination, that blew my mind. I mean, I could totally imagine Geppetto going to Scrooge McDuck's bank for a loan to build new puppets, or Ariel hitting up her go-to pharmacy at 3 a.m. during a bout of insomnia to score some Evil Witch apples. What really made each episode shine, though, was the backstage storyline, which always brought something original and fun. Like in the episode The Three Caballeros, where the group's scheduled to perform, but nobody remembers Donald was in the band.
The 3 Caballeros are Panchito, Jose, and...
Sneezy? No, it's Grumpy. You're so dumb.
Kinda low of Mickey to show up our Bud Don like that. So Donald quits the group and tries going solo under the new name, the Duck formerly known as Donald. But of course, Panchito and Jose crash his song in the end, and things get patched up. Sort of. But the drama wasn't always just silly, friendly stuff. Sometimes they even let things get a bit darker. Just a bit though. Like in Donald's Lamp Trade, where Jafar hypnotizes Donald to go find the genie's lamp hidden in the club's basement, in exchange for getting back at Mickey because the mouse kept making fun of Donald. Honestly, Mickey really needed to chill. Talk about being a friend. So, when Donald goes down to the basement, we get a ton of Disney movie Easter eggs, which comes to show how much the animators truly love this show. In the end, Donald brings back the lamp, but Jafar explains that the lamp he's looking for is not the magic lamp, but a decorative one in Mickey's dressing room. So Mickey takes pity on him and hands it over happily. This is followed by an ad for Cave of Wonders long-term storage, where your stuff is safe from everyone except the diamond in the rough. By the way, would you like me to make a compilation of all the advertisements shown at the end of each episode? I think it could be fun. Let me know in the comments. While rewatching the series, there was one question I just couldn't shake off. How much of the runtime of each episode was actually the backstage drama? And how much was just the animated shorts in between? The question kept bugging me so much that I ended up taking notes on every single episode just to figure it out. And the answer was not surprising at all. Out of the 21-minute runtime of each episode, 13.5 minutes were cartoons, and just 7.5 were the backstage story. That's almost 66% for cartoons and only 35% for club drama. And why do I say this isn't all that surprising? Before House of Mouse existed, there was another Mickey-led show you might remember, Mickey Mouse Works. The show was made up of a series of original animated shorts starring Mickey and his friends, all aiming to capture the look and feel of classic Disney. But at the time, the vice president of Disney Television Animation, Barry Blumberg, who would later go on to become CEO of the YouTube channel Smosh, wasn't exactly a fan. He felt that the format of shorts aired one after another without any connective tissue just didn't work. So he decided it was time to give Mickey a brand new show. And that's how House of Mouse was born, with the idea of showing Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and the others behaving more naturally, using the club and the interactions with all the other Disney IPs as a connecting thread. All the other Disney IPs, that is, except, well, we'll get to that in a bit. Barry knew that to stay within budget, creating new animated shorts wasn't feasible, so he decided to reuse the ones produced for Mickey Mouse Works. This way, the entire budget for the new show could go toward creating original stories that made the most of the club and the Disney properties, even if those stories could only take up about a third of the show's total runtime. House of Mouse was produced from January 2001 to October 2004, running for 3 seasons, 2 with 13 episodes, and 1 with 26, giving us a total of 52 episodes, exactly the number of weeks in a year. Coincidence? I think not. This is the part of the video where we get serious and talk about the sad cancellation of House of Mouse. Yep, it's time to bring out your tissues. Back when TV channels ruled the world of kids' entertainment, studios were obsessed with 2 numbers, 52 and 65. If you go back and look at the cartoons from your childhood, you'll notice that most of them were canceled after 52 or 65 episodes. And the reason has everything to do with syndication rights. When a production company created a show with plans to syndicate it, they knew that 65 episodes were more than enough. A 65-episode cartoon airing every weekday could run a new episode for 3 full months before having to start repeating. So companies like Disney often saw no point in making more. 3 months was more than plenty. But some shows weren't even lucky enough to make it to 65 episodes, like House of Mouse. In this particular case, since the plan was for the show to air once a week on Saturday mornings, 52 episodes were enough to fill a whole year with fresh content. Why spend money making more? However, House of Mouse was such a hit that Disney actually listened to the fans and ended up producing 2 animated movies. Mickey's Magical Christmas snowed in at the House of Mouse, which was a holiday special and my personal favorite of the 2. The Halloween-themed Mickey's House of Villains, where all the Disney villains team up on Halloween night to take over the club. Well, almost all of them. Right at the start of the movie, we see the whole gang of baddies confidently marching toward the House of Mouse. From the Big Bad Wolf and the Evil Queen to Hades, Piglet, and Bambi, all the big baddies came to the party. Even Cruella de Vil, Ursula, and Chernabog joined later on. But I always felt like someone was missing. One truly iconic villain. Someone terrifying with no redeeming qualities, driven by pure cruelty. One who was willing to even shoot the hero to get his way.
Clayton.
I might be a little biased here since Tarzan has always been one of my favorite Disney movies. Phil Collins, I salute you. But I always wondered why Clayton wasn't there. Let's ignore the fact that he had a pretty dark demise at the end of the Tarzan movie. Turns out, there's an actual reason why Clayton doesn't show up in Mickey's House of Villains, or in any episode of the series. In fact, neither do Jane, Turk, Kala, Kerchak, or Tarzan himself. When production on House of Mouse was just getting started, Disney gave the team complete freedom to use almost any of their properties in the show's stories. But they also set one rule that couldn't be broken: no Tarzan characters allowed. This was confirmed by the show's producers, Robert Sganaway and Tony Craig, in a 2001 interview with the LA Times. But why? The case of Tarzan and Disney is a very peculiar one, and I came across a lot of misinformation online about it, mostly because there just isn't much reliable info out there to begin with. But I'll tell you what I was able to find. The short answer is legal issues. While digging into the legal situation between Disney and Tarzan, I found 2 main takes. On one hand, some people claim that Disney and the family of Edgar Rice Burroughs, the creator of Tarzan and the original stories, absolutely hate each other, and that this bad blood is what keeps Disney from using the characters. But then there are others who say that Disney owns the version of Tarzan they created for their movies and animated series, so they don't need permission from the Burroughs estate anymore. People on both sides often link to an interview from the 1940s with the creator of Tarzan himself, in which Edgar Rice Burroughs said he never sells his character, and instead, he only leases Tarzan for a specific length of time and purpose or product. But that doesn't really confirm either theory. And although it's true that it's pretty rare to see Disney referencing Tarzan these days, it's not impossible. There's a walkthrough attraction based on Tarzan in Disneyland, and the character has popped up, even if very briefly, in some Disney media in recent years, like the mobile game Disney Heroes Battle Mode and the animated short Once Upon a Studio, where he can be spotted in a few scenes. So I was just as confused as when I started. But then, I found this on the legal notices page of the Disney Store. Owned by Edgar Rice Burroughs, Inc., and used by permission. That used by permission statement isn't present in most of the legal notices listed on the page, not even in the ones for Winnie the Pooh, but it does appear in a few other cases like Mr. Potato Head, which we know is fully owned by Hasbro but licensed out to Disney through specific agreements, which allows them to use the character in different media. I'm not a lawyer, but my guess is that Disney is allowed to use the character of Tarzan in its products and media as long as they get approval from the Edgar Rice Burroughs estate, which likely includes paying some fees or sharing revenue. And I assume that for House of Mouse, Disney simply didn't get or didn't even care for that approval. Although interestingly, there is one Tarzan character who shows up in the show, twice actually. In the very first episode, Stolen Cartoons, Pete is trying to escape Mickey when he comes face to face with Tantor, who throws him out of the club. And then, in the episode Donald and the Arlequin Bird, Tantor makes another brief cameo while covering his face with his ears after Donald shoots darts at the audience. I'll be honest with you, I have no idea why Tantor was allowed to appear in the show, even if only a couple of times, while the rest of the Tarzan characters weren't. So if you know more about this, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Either way, House of Mouse is one of Disney's most memorable shows, which makes it surprising that the series hasn't been added to Disney+. I tried to find reliable info about why the show isn't on Disney's streaming platform, but there's very little out there. The only thing I found was a comment on Reddit from someone who claims to be informed on the topic. The Reddit commenter says they spoke with a voice actor who's done work for a lot of Disney characters, and that said actor confirmed the reason the show isn't available for streaming is that the company isn't interested in paying residuals to every voice actor who worked on the show. If that's true, it means Disney has the power to give us House of Mouse, but simply chooses not to, and that's kinda sad. By the way, did you know there's an animation studio that became infamous worldwide for releasing knockoff versions every time Disney or DreamWorks launched a movie? I'm talking about box office hits like Ratatouille or The Little Panda Fighter. How did Video Brinquedo come about? What was their fate? And why does their version of Up include an ugly monster invading Paris? I cover all that in this video. Subscribe for more. Dr. Panda out.